All right, let's dive into one of the biggest geopolitical shifts happening right now, the no limits partnership between China and Russia. Now, this is way more than just two countries getting along. This is about a shared goal to fundamentally change the global order as we know it.
You know, when China's President Xi Jinping said this, standing right next to Vladimir Putin in Moscow, it wasn't just polite diplomatic talk, not at all. It was a declaration, a clear statement of intent. Their partnership is built on a shared mission to challenge the way the world works. So how are they actually doing it? Let's break it down.
Okay, so pillar number one, a united diplomatic front. And if you want to see this in action, the best place to look is the United Nations Security Council. Their main weapon here? It's the joint veto. Think about it. With their permanent seats on the Security Council, they can team up to block pretty much any initiative led by the US and Europe. They're basically acting as gatekeepers, shielding their allies and deciding what the international community can and can't do. And you can see the pattern right here in the data. This isn't just random. Since 2011, there's been this consistent strategy of them vetoing together. They've blocked resolutions on absolutely critical issues, from chemical weapons in Syria to elections in Venezuela, and even sanctions on North Korea's missile program. It's clearly a coordinated effort. But here's where their tactics get even more interesting. It's not always about the joint veto. Sometimes it's about what they call strategic abstention. Let's take Russia's annexation of Crimea back in 2014. A resolution to condemn it comes up. Russia, of course, vetoes it. But China? They don't vote with the West, they just abstain. That gives Russia crucial political cover. And get this, since 1999, Beijing has never once opposed a Security Council resolution that Moscow supported. So that's the diplomatic side. Let's move on to the second pillar, their military relationship. And this is integrating at a really rapid pace, going way beyond just simple arms deals. The whole dynamic here has completely changed. I mean, it used to be a pretty straightforward buyer-seller relationship. Russia sold hardware to a less advanced Chinese military. Well, that's ancient history. Today, they're basically near peers, running these incredibly complex joint exercises that show a deep level of trust and an ability to operate together seamlessly. Now, this partnership is still built on a very solid foundation of hardware. Look at this number, 77%. That's the share of China's total arms imports that came from Russia between 2019 and 2023. And we're not talking about old stuff. We're talking about advanced fighter jets and S-400 missile systems, the kind of tech that gives China's military a serious upgrade. This timeline really tells the story of their growing cooperation. It started with regional drills back in 2005. Fast forward to 2018, and China is participating in Russia's biggest strategic war games. And now, they're coordinating naval patrols way up in the Arctic. We've moved from a regional partnership to one with a truly global reach. Okay, so you've got diplomacy and military force. The third and final pillar holding this all together is economic. This is an axis of trade and finance, and it's designed to do two things: fuel their ambitions and protect them from Western economic pressure. I mean, just look at this jump. After the West hit Russia with massive sanctions in 2022, China basically became its economic lifeline. Trade didn't just grow, it absolutely exploded, surging to a record $240 billion. That's the kind of money that gives the Kremlin a critical cushion. A huge piece of that trade is energy. Moscow made a very strategic pivot. It rerouted its vast oil and coal exports away from Europe and sent them east. For China, this is great. It means a secure supply of discounted energy. And for Russia, it means a steady flow of cash to fund its strategic goals, including, of course, the war in Ukraine. And here's a crucial part of this whole economic axis: resilience. Over 90% of their trade is now done in their own currencies, the yuan or the ruble. They're actively building a financial system that's outside of the US dollar. This is a very deliberate de-dollarization strategy, and the goal is to make themselves less vulnerable to American-led sanctions. So you add it all up, the diplomatic alignment, the military integration, the economic access, and what you have is a completely new global reality, especially for the United States and its allies. And this new reality raises a fundamental question, one that is probably going to define American foreign policy for an entire generation. The thing is, the United States is no longer just facing individual challengers in different parts of the world. It's now up against two collaborating great powers, at the same time in Europe and in Asia. And this cooperation is spreading, pulling in other countries like Iran and North Korea to form what some analysts are now calling an axis of upheaval. This marks the beginning of a truly long-term geopolitical contest.
So, the most important takeaway here is this. The China-Russia partnership is not some temporary, convenient alliance. It's a durable, structural shift in the global landscape. It has created a fundamentally new strategic equation, and understanding all of its dimensions is the absolute first step in navigating the massive challenges of the 21st century.